Rise up, young Howard. Welcome to a Thirsty Thursday edition of The Sweat presented by DraftKings. I'm Emerson Latzia, riding solo with you here for the next 55 minutes or so. So we're talking top plays on the diamond, on the ice, on the gridiron, on the pitch. We'll even do that thing you like on the hardwood. Lots and lots of surfaces on today's program. DK Nation, Chinmay Vaidya, RotoWire's Nick Whalen are here for a fun edition of NBA Fast Break. We've got a pair of Game 6s tonight. Before we dive into them, gentlemen, let's revisit last night. So the Knicks and the Warriors lived to see another day. Biggest story right now has got to be Anthony Davis leaving with a head injury. Nick, can the Lakers win if AD cannot play tomorrow night?
No, they cannot. I don't think they can. We'll see what the status of Anthony Davis is. Kind of mixed reporting coming out of Game 5 last night. Where, never a great sign, Emerson, when you're leaving the arena in a wheelchair for a head injury.
Yep.
We've kind of unprecedented in a lot of ways, and obviously, this has been an every other night series. So it's not like they get 2 or 3 days off here. If Anthony Davis lands in concussion protocol, he's not playing tomorrow night. And 2 of the games that the Lakers have won in this series so far, to me, have been complete coin flips. Games that were within one possession basically the entire fourth quarter, and the ball bounced their way a couple of times at Game 1 and Game 4. Without Anthony Davis, man, this team is going to really, really struggle defensively. We already kind of saw that slippage a little bit last night. It's a completely different game when the Warriors are knocking down threes, especially when guys like Moses Moody and Jordan Poole and Draymond Green are hitting threes, as was the case last night. So, all of a sudden this series has completely flipped, and if Anthony Davis does not play in Game 6, I think we're looking at a kind of a redux of 2016 in some ways, where it could be LeBron now blowing a 3-1 lead to Steph.
Hey, Chinmay, Heat still lead the series against New York. Knicks defense limiting Jimmy Butler to 19 points. That modest total still led the Heat's struggling offense. How nervous should Miami be right now ahead of Game 6 tomorrow?
I don't think there are any nerves on the Miami side. This was a game that they probably could have afforded to drop. And even though the Heat won't say that, they know that they now have 2 more games to get this series done. 1 game at home where they've been, unflappable in this postseason. And Jimmy Butler will bounce back from this game. It wasn't his best game scoring. It was probably one of his lowest. It was his lowest game scoring in the postseason, I believe, this year. So I think the Heat will bounce back. They definitely do need to figure out ways to get offense outside of Jimmy Butler. But I think the role players at home have played much better in this series. So I think Miami gets the job done in 6, but they won't be worried. They're a veteran group. They know that they still have 2 more games here, and they have all the confidence in the world. This was probably just a one-off for them.
Well, Chinmay, let's fast forward to tonight. Celtics-Sixers, Game 6. Philly can close this puppy out with a dub. Who is your top DFS play in this game?
Obviously, the superstar plays, Tatum and Embiid are up there, and James Harden and Jaylen Brown are a step down from that. If you want to go with any of those 4 as your headliner, I can't fault you for that. In terms of value plays, I like both Malcolm Brogdon and Derek White. They've both been phenomenal in this series. They've both gotten plenty of run and plenty of touches. And maybe Boston pulls Marcus Smart late in games and gives the ball to Brogdon or Derek White late, given the struggles that Marcus Smart has had down the stretch of these games. So I think they have crunch minutes as well. On the 76ers side, DeAnthony Melton is sitting at around 4K. If you want a guy who's going to give you some upside as a 3-point shooter, we've talked about PJ Tucker, not really being an offensive threat, and Doc Rivers he has shown that he's not going to hesitate to put DeAnthony Melton in there to provide some spacing. So Melton around 4K is also a value play for me.
All right, Nick, if the Celtics want to extend their season, members of this supporting cast are going to have to step up. Who are you looking at in DFS?
First of all, I'm comfortable going Tatum at 9,800. I know it's a steep price, and there's some other stars, but we've seen Tatum in these situations, even when it feels like he's not playing that well. You think back to, the 46-point explosion in a do-or-die game against Milwaukee last season. So I think he bounces back after what's kind of been a shaky series for him. In terms of values, I like the Melton call by Chinmay, but I also think you're getting a decent amount of upside at 6,300 for Tyrese Maxey, who would kind of saved the 76ers. And there's a big reason that they're up in this series right now. I think in that price range, you're not really finding a ton of guys who can get you 45, 50 DraftKings points if they go off. A little bit lower down, I'm actually okay going back to Al Horford, who I know was kind of the the GOAT for the
Oh.
Celtics in the last game.
0 for 7. Yeah.
0 of 7 from the field. He's not going 0 of 7 again. And look, even in what felt like a terrible rock bottom game for Al Horford, he's still giving you rebounds, assists, defensive stats. Like, he still had 18 DraftKings points in what felt like, one of the worst games of his career. He's been in the 35 to almost 40 range prior to that. So I think a lot of people are going to be off Horford after game 5, but I'm jumping back on. I think it's a good value.
Everyone outside Tatum and Brown just completely disappeared. DK Sportsbook has Philly, Nick, listed as a short home underdog. What's a bet you like?
I'm staying away from that. I'll tell you. I mean, I think coming into the series, I would have said, all right, this is a spot where I trust Boston. But we've seen, 2 or 3 times now, they've just, come up short, even going back to that Atlanta series when it felt like, all right, they're going to close it out. And then they just no-showed. So I'm looking at the player prop market at DraftKings. I like James Harden over 15.5 assists plus rebounds. We're just taking the points out of this because you never know what version of James Harden you're going to get. But he's gone over 15.5 in each of the last 3 games. Obviously he's a guy who could, approach this in assists or even rebounds alone on the right night. And it's kind of a way to hedge if you don't know which version of Harden you're getting as a scorer. I think we get another kind of facilitation game from James Harden. And I actually looked this up, guys. So going all the way back to the regular season, in games when he doesn't get to 20 points, he's gone over 15.5 assists plus rebounds in 19 of those 29 instances, including twice in this series. So Harden over 15.5 assists plus rebounds.
Who or what are you looking at, Chinmay?
So there was a stat after game 5 from Tim Bontemps at ESPN. The Celtics, basically, when they shoot 40% or better from deep, are 34-2 on the season. And when they don't hit that mark, they're 29-27. So basically a 500 team. Now, last year in game 6, they went 17 of 43 from deep against Milwaukee. And then in game 7, they followed that up going 22 of 55, hovering right around the 40% mark in both of those games. So do I think the Celtics can connect from 3? That's basically what, you're banking on here. And also the Sixers are prone to blowing these leads. Let's not act like the Philadelphia 76ers have closed out playoff series convincingly to get to the conference finals. They haven't done that in the Joel Embiid era. So I'll take Celtics money line tonight. I think Boston forces a game 7. I think they get hot from deep after a couple games where they cooled off a bit. And I think we see game 7 in this series in Boston on Friday night or Saturday?
Yeah, and could see eventually a game 7 between the Nuggets and the Suns, which the Nuggets right now lead this series 3-2. So game 6 is in Phoenix tonight. Who sits atop your DFS rankings, Chinmay?
Booker, Durant, and Nikola Jokic. The list stops and ends, or starts and ends pretty much with those 3. They've been dominant throughout this entire series, and games 3 and 4 in Phoenix, where basically, those 3 guys were up to the mark in every single contest there. Jamal Murray stepped up late in those games as well, so I think he could also be a nice play. In terms of value, there's plenty for the Suns. I think Jock Landale is getting significant run, and DeAndre Ayton, we know he's questionable for tonight. We'll see if he suits up. Even if he does, I think the Suns are preferring Landale in big moments. And then Landry Shamet, look, if the Nuggets are just going to leave him open and force him to beat them, he's going to do that. We saw what he did in game 4. He had an off night in game 5, but I think Landry Shamet bounces back at home. On the Nuggets side, I like Bruce Brown. He's getting consistent minutes. He's not going to wow you in terms of any statistical category, but he kind of does a little bit of everything and gets playing time. So those are the value plays for me. But for me, it's the 3 stars. Jokic, Booker, and Durant are where this DFS lineup is at.
Yeah, Nick, and we already have Chris Paul ruled out, Ayton questionable for game 6 here, and we know Durant and Booker have carried this team with Paul out.
Yeah, I'm fine paying up for Jokic, first of all. I think nobody really matches his upside. His last 4 games have been 74, 81, 76, and 73 DraftKings points. He's just one of those guys that even when it doesn't feel like he's dominating the game, he always has like 5 more rebounds, 5 more assists, 10 more points than you expect. You could get him in your lineup, but you could still pair him with at least one of KD or Booker or Tatum or Embiid. Take your pick there. If I'm deciding between Booker and Durant, I actually lean Durant tonight. It's been kind of weird because I think Devin Booker has been clearly the Suns' best player throughout these playoffs. It's strange to see KD kind of taking a back seat. But if you remember back to the last game of the series, Booker at least 2 separate times, kind of came up favoring that foot and ankle. It kind of looked like he was out of gas for the first time in the playoffs. So I think if the Suns are going to hang around in this game, it's going to have to be a Kevin Durant night. Chinmay mentioned Bruce Brown. He was the swing guy for DFS contest in Game 5. If you had him in your lineup, you probably did pretty well. Do we trust him again at 4,800? I think a lot of people are going to jump back on. I'll probably fade him tonight. There's just not a lot of track record for Bruce Brown having back-to-back games like that in the playoffs. But Chinmay mentioned Jock Landale as well. I think you got to get him in your lineup at 3,500. I mean, this is not the Ayton injury is not something that they just list him as questionable every game. This is the first time all playoffs that he's been on the injury report. this is a legitimate injury by all accounts, and it's possible as of right now that he doesn't even play. So even if Ayton is out there, maybe he's not 100%. I think that could mean Landale plays north of 25 minutes in this game. He's already seeing 15 to 20 minutes off the bench anyways. So I think you have to get Landale in there at 3,500.
Yeah, Durant has cleared 50 fantasy points in 4 of the 5 games in this series so far. Nick, quickly on this last one, 9 matchups between the Suns and the Nuggets. Between the regular season and the postseason, the home team has won every game. So what do you want to do tonight on the DK Sportsbook?
I'm going back to the player props as well. I do think Denver wins this game for the record, but Kevin Durant over 30.5 points ties into kind of what I said about his DFS prospects. I think he has to be the guy tonight, and certainly he's capable of that. I also like his over 39.5 points plus rebounds. He's been rebounding, basically averaging 10 boards per game in this series. I'd also go under on DeAndre Ayton, 21.5 points plus rebounds. Again, I don't trust a healthy DeAndre Ayton, and if he's banged up, I think that's just more reason to go under.
Chinmay.
Well, I'm going back to the game result here. Emerson, you mentioned it. The home team has won every time. No reason to stray away from that here. I'm taking the Suns on the money line. I think we get a Game 7 in this series as well.
You two are phenomenal, Chinmay. We'll talk some EPL with you coming up. Nick, enjoy the rest of your Thirsty Thursday. By the way, everybody, DraftKings has launched a 24/7 fast channel on Samsung TV Plus. So that is channel 1168. And every Tuesday, 5 o'clock Eastern Time, you can watch The Sweat Tuesday Takeover with Jared Carabas. Here's a little sneak peek of how weird we get.
We have pants on the mind. We've been inspired by Masataka Yoshida. Every time he extends his hitting streak, his pants inch closer to his nipples. You're gonna answer true or false questions about Masataka Yoshida. If you get it right, you pull the pants up near the nips. The highest pants at the end will win.
Help me.
Okay. How many questions are there?
I'm not gonna tell you. I like how you guys are like video game players. You're at the ready right now.
Choose your fighter.
All right, true or false? Yoshida played 6 seasons in Japan before being signed by the Red Sox this offseason.
I'm going to say that's false.
Bing, 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 correct. So up towards the nips, true or false? Yoshida wore number 34 in Japan because of David Ortiz, who he loved to watch growing up, and he admired.
Incorrect. False.
Yep.
Because
false.
it's for Bryce.
So true or false? Yoshida is actually older than Bryce Harper.
Oh.
He's not. Bryce Harper is 30 and Yoshida is 29.
Okay, correct. Yeah! Up, wow!
Oh,
Jared is getting close to his nipples. Yeah, I can tell. Yoshida holds the WBC record for most RBIs in a single tournament with 13.
True.
Yeah! Let's go!
Oh, ho, ho, ho.
True or false? Yoshida is currently the favorite on the DK Sportsbook to win AL Rookie of the Year. The last Red Sox player to win the honor was Dustin Pedroia.
That has to be true.
Yeah, let's go!
I don't know.
Like,
I've got to be
Emerson.
at my nipples.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how we can go up any further, but we can
Okay, go
try. Yoshida has not committed an error for the Red Sox this season. Is it true or false?
False.
It is false.
Yeah!
You two have tied. Nips out for the boys. Ew.
You gonna talk, Emerson?
Okay. I guess we're up now. Sorry. I had no idea. Didn't hear a countdown, but we are here, and we are in our baseball segment now. 3 games on the main slate. I think there's 6 games on the total slate today, 3 on the main slate tonight, all divisional throwdowns. So, time for a fun little segment of Put Up Your Bukes, the highest rated segment in the Sweat's history. RotoWire's Eric Halterman, Steve Buchanan, Gary and Thorne, welcome aboard. You guys know the drill. Steve will give his best bet for each of the following questions. You guys, the other two, Gary and Eric, will either agree or pivot to a different play. Bukes, which game and player are you on for tonight's first 5 innings offerings?
Yeah, give me the one of the best teams in through the first 5 innings, the Rays over the New York Yankees at plus 105 here tonight. Rays are 25-13 on the first 5 inning run line, second best in the league, trailing only the red hot Atlanta Braves. Rays get it out to a quick start offensively too as well. They're averaging 3.6 runs through the first 5 innings. That's also the second best in the league, trailing only the Texas Rangers at this point. Drew Masterson has been stellar, aside from really 2 games against the Blue Jays in the Astros. Of the four of his starts out of the 7 that he's made, hasn't allowed a run. This Yankees offense has been so hot and cold really all throughout the season, but with the way he's been pitching, I think the Rays can have the lead after 5 innings are completed.
All right, Gare Bear, what do you want to do here? We know you're putting up your bukes.
Yeah, I'm going to go to a different game here. Let's talk about the Diamondbacks-Giants game. Little surprised to see the first 5 total as big as it is. It's sitting at 5 runs, which Tommy Henry's not great, so I can sort of understand this, but Alex Cobb's been fantastic so far this season. He's rocking an ERA just over 2 for the season as a whole, and in his last 4 starts, he has a 1.38 ERA and a 2.54 FIP. He's been fantastic in recent outings. And the one thing Henry has going for him is he's left-handed, and the Giants cannot hit left-handed pitching. They lost Austin Slater last night, who was one of the few guys on their 26-man roster who actually can hit southpaws. He's not going to be available for this game. They are one of just 5 teams with a sub-300 WOBA against lefties this season. So I think Henry can somewhat mitigate the bats of the Giants, while Alex Cobb should do more than enough to keep this below 5.
Easy E, what do you want to do?
I'm looking at that same game going in a similar but slightly different direction here. I'm just going to go Giants minus 110 at the Diamondbacks for those first 5 innings. Because I like Alex Cobb way more than I like Tommy Henry. Alex Cobb, in many ways, isn't actually all that different from last season. If you remember, for the early part of last year, he was the guy whose results trailed his peripherals by a ridiculous amount. All the ERA estimators were saying that he was having a great season, and his ERA was sitting at above 6 fairly deep into the year. This year, his Sierra, for example, has only dropped from 315 to 307, but his ERA is all the way down to 201. I think he's been very good. I think Tommy Henry on the other side isn't going to stick in the rotation for very long. I think the Giants will easily be up here. I don't know if it's going to be by too much to hit that early over, or if it's just going to be a comfortable 1-0, 2-0 lead.
All right, Steven, take us to the pitching prop department. Which one you want tonight, dude?
Yeah, obviously not a lot of things that we can choose from here, but Domingo Germán to go over 1.5 walks, plus 115. I don't mind that one here. For as good as the Rays have been swinging the bat, they also draw a good amount of walks too as well, have a 9.4% walk rate on the year that ties them for the 9th best mark in the league. Then you got Germán, who has issued at least 2 walks in 4 of the 7 starts that he's made, including that last one against the Rays. We saw one game where he ended up having 5 walks in a game. So obviously the issue, his command can be an issue at times. And this is just such a small total for him to have to go over against one of the better offenses in the league. So give me over 1.5 walks issued by Domingo Germán tonight.
All right, Eric, put up your bukes, or do you like Bukes' selection?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm confident enough in that one, given that Germán's usually had a fairly low walk rate most of his seasons. His walk rate is a tick or 2 below league average. So if he gets knocked around by the Rays and gives us a bunch of hits, I'm seeing that as more likely. I think just sticking with Alex Cobb, who I just talked up, I think I am fully behind him going under 2.5 runs today at minus 105. I think he does everything well. Well, he doesn't strike out a ton of guys, but he does everything else. He doesn't give up walks, and he doesn't let guys hit home runs. I think stringing singles together isn't going to lead to many runs. It hasn't for him so far this year. I don't think it's going to today either.
Gare Bear, which pitching prop are you looking at?
Yeah, this is kind of like an unstoppable force meets a movable object sort of situation with Tommy Henry and his strikeout prop tonight. Tommy Henry is not a strikeout pitcher. He hasn't had a huge sample size at the major league level, but he has not shown a massive aptitude for striking out batters. It was better last season, around a 17% strikeout rate. It's just 10.5% in 3 starts so far this season. But That strikeout prop at 4.5 at plus money is pretty tempting considering the Giants have the highest strikeout rate in all of baseball. The Giants have struck out in 28.5% of their plate appearances against left-handed pitching so far this season. That's one of the major reasons they've been so bad against lefties. I think Henry can stick around long enough in this game, and the Giants can just do what they do enough for someone who, to his credit, does have 22 strikeouts in 21 1/3 innings in the minors this season. So it's not like Tommy Henry is completely incapable of striking batters out. And I think the Giants just do enough on their own for him to hit this prop.
All right.
Painful. Crickets. Ouch.
I think it was a misfire. It's all
I'm
good.
sorry, our live
It's
studio
all good.
audience didn't
No,
go
you're
crazy for that
fine.
one.
You're fine. Everyone likes that. Everyone likes you. And Steve, everyone would like you to give your total bases prop. So who's hitting the over on their total bases?
That was just totally disrespectful to Gary. That was not necessary.
It's
or-
Hoffman.
or-
I think Hoffman
warranted.
in the back is still getting used to the whole keyboard thing, man.
Yeah, just don't touch anything. All right. Well, let's just talk about.
No, we
Tyro
need him to
Estrada.
touch it. We need him to touch this and punch the
He's
show.
not doing a very good job. All right, Tyro Estrada going over 1.5 bases. Thank you very much. Tyro Estrada go over 1.5 bases at even money tonight. This is someone who's been absolutely mashing the ball for the Giants as of late. Currently coming into this game on a 7-game hitting streak. During the month of May, 10 hits through 8 games already. He's gone over 1.5 bases 14 times this season. Been getting some good power as of late too as well. So if we're getting even money on this one, I think this is a nice spot for Estrada to go over 1.5 bases. You know, we're kind of poo-pooing all over this Giants offense and how they really can't hit lefties, but this is a good spot for Estrada tonight. So I like him to go over 1.5 bases.
Gary Bear, put up your bukes, please.
Yeah, I mean, I think right now you can kind of just blindly take any Rangers player at plus money to go over their total bases prop. We sort of maybe know who's starting that game for the Athletics, but nothing's really set in stone yet. In the meantime, I'll just take Yandy Diaz at plus money to go over 1.5 total bases. Really, the only thing I'm worried about with Yandy Diaz is he takes so many walks and gets hit by so many pitches that maybe he's on base all the time, but it's not because he actually hit his way on base. But he's hitting 353 with a 466 WOBA and a 209 WRC plus against right-handed pitching so far this season. Yandy Diaz has figured out how to elevate the baseball slightly, and now he's the best hitter in the world, which is really, really terrifying because his biceps are the size of my head. So
Got a big head.
I got a big head. So Yandy Diaz, great hitter. If you ever get him at plus money, I would just recommend taking it.
I have seen you in person, and your head is quite thick, Garion. Eric, go ahead, put up your bukes.
Yeah, I'm again just picking on Tommy Henry here. I mean, I feel bad, but it's a small slate. So what are we going to do? There's a couple guys you're going to pick on. And I am liking a lot of Giants righties to hit their overs. Tyro Estrada, a switch hitter among that group that Steve mentioned. Also, Mitch Haniger. He's at minus 110 to go over 1.5. He's had a very shaky season so far, dealt with injuries. What's new with that for Mitch Haniger, unfortunately, but had a couple 2-hit days in his last 3 games. So I think I'm confident enough with that one. Also, JD Davis at plus 110. So I'd be sprinkling things around some of the Giants right-handers against Tommy Henry here.
All right, Bukes. I'm on the DK Sportsbook, hitting the batter props department. I'm clicking on the hits, runs, and RBI tab. What's the play here?
Yeah, I mean, I love taking these bets because there's nothing more frustrating than taking someone to go over total bases and then they walk 2 or 3 times. If you get that to happen in this game here, if they score a couple times, you're still good. So I like these hits, run, RBI bets. So I'm taking Juan DeFranco to go over 1.5 that tonight at minus 115. I'm sorry, minus 125 now. But there's so many ways that you can win this bet, and he's been somebody that's been doing that for us consistently all throughout the season. He's gone over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs in 20 of the 36 games that he's played this season. He's currently on a 6-game hitting streak. He's gone over this number in 5 of those games thus far. If we're talking about how good this Rays offense has been, he has been one of those guys that's been able to do it. The home run numbers are finally starting to come around. Over the first couple of years, he wasn't hitting a lot. He's already approaching 10 already this early in the season. So with somebody with his amount of power and his ability to get on base, he should go over this number here tonight against the Yankees.
Easy E, put up your bukes, please.
Yeah, am I allowed to just agree for once? I
Yes.
will pull a Gary
Wow.
and disagree with absolutely everything.
This is
I
history.
think this was the one that I really couldn't find something that I liked more. I think Wander Franco, the price is surprisingly good on this one. I guess it has moved in a slightly worse direction, as Steve mentioned, because it was maybe too good, but it's still good. Wander Franco doing everything that you want to see a player do in his breakout season. We're going to maybe have to wait another couple months to say for sure that this is the breakout. He showed flashes last year before getting hurt of taking that next step. But his strikeout rate is actually up this season, but it's only up at 15%. When you make as much contact as he does, you can afford to give back a little. And his barrel rate is way up, over 10% after being under 5% in the past. Hitting the ball harder, still hitting it very often, and with a very fine matchup here, I think he's going to do a lot of damage.
Gabriel, you won't agree because you never do that in this segment.
No, I don't. But I like the spirit of the bet, and I'm going to find another switch hitter because I like that vibe. But I'm going to find it at plus money. So Jonah Heim, plus 105 to go over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs tonight. Look, all the algorithms out there that spit out the implied run totals for these teams on any given slate, Texas is the only team on this slate implied for over 5 runs. And the algorithms didn't even have to know who was starting for the Athletics. They're just like, whoever they could possibly put out there is going to be bad. Of that, we can be sure. It seems like it's going to be Zach Neal, who is not having a good time in AAA so far this season, was perfectly fine in Japan, but was bad in the majors before his 3-year trip in Japan. This is not going to go well. The Rangers, aside from the Rays, have been the second best offensive team in baseball this season, and a big reason has been Heim. He's got a 159 WRC plus overall, and he's an above average hitter from both the left side of the plate and the right side of the plate. So regardless of who the Athletics end up putting on the mound, regardless of which hand they throw with, Jonah Heim's in a really nice spot tonight.
Gentlemen, your job here is done. Way to put up your bukes. Thank you so much, Steven. We're going to poke over to the ice after this, and we will discuss the team of destiny in the NHL, the Edmonton Oilers.
That's not the Mariners.
Oh,
DraftKings,
relax,
y'all
bucko.
got the most ways to bet on NBA players. I'm hyped. Hitting props, that's my dog. Stack up buckets, blocks, and boards on my boy, or superstar going one-on-one against another superstar. Oh, it's on. And all these bets are on my man's dedicated page? Now you spoiling me, DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and bet $5 to win $150 in bonus bets on your team to win. Action so good, why bet anywhere else? That's my move. He used my move.
You know, betting without a game plan is a little like skating a giant ramp without helmet and pads. I wouldn't risk it. And I wouldn't bet without a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook provides you with tools to set a realistic budget and time limits, so you're ready to bet responsibly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook and Casino apps to learn more about how you can practice safe bets.
This season, DraftKings Sportsbook is your place to bet on the greatest sport on ice. There's so many ways to get closer to the game. And with this latest offer, you can win big. Now that is deserving of some victory stick taps.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up with the promo code, and take advantage of this great offer.
And get in on the action with an official sports betting partner of the NHL.
With DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports, you can play for millions with a lineup full of big NBA stars. Maybe you throw in a three-point specialist that's been around the league, seen a thing or two. You know, if you want. Download DraftKings and play for your share of millions. Action's so good, why play NBA anywhere else?
All right, we are going to poke over to the ice now. DraftKings contributor Jeff Ulrich is here. The riveting RotoWire duo of Paul Bruno and AJ Schultz. Look at this. Actually, don't look at that because that looks a little messed up. We've got a couple game fives tonight. But before we get your DFS and best bet plays for that, there are the games. There are the games on tonight's slate. Paul, talk to me here, dude. How we feeling about your boys staving off elimination last night? Still alive, still breathing, still kicking. Why did it take 4 games for the best of your Leafs to show up?
Look, I've been a Leafs fan for a long while. All I know is they always take the hard road. And maybe they're going to go a little bit longer than you guys thought, but I really had a sense that they were going to deliver their best effort last night. It was put up or shut up time, and the media hit them right in the pride, and it really showed. They all the top four really reacted well. They played with a greater engagement, I thought. And when you look at the shots on goal by the team, the whole team got 25 shots. 16 of them came from the top four players. And the defensive structure was impressive too, with 21 block shots to only 9 for Florida. So that was pretty nice to see. And I think now coming back to Toronto, I'm looking forward to the game 5. I think they're going to put another good effort forward. Then it gets interesting.
Yeah, that definitely is already interesting. There's no doubt about it. Jeff, let's talk about our team. Let's talk about our team of destiny. Oil me up, baby. Edmonton, evening up the series against the Golden Knights. Tell me, dude, which side you giving the edge to ahead of Game 5 in Vegas tomorrow?
I mean, look, this series has been all over the place, but I think that the one underlying factor you can't look away from is when the Oilers show up, it's game over. I mean, it's, you know, they literally didn't show up for about 5 periods of this series, and when they did, they lost. But when they show up, the Golden Knights really don't have any answer. And I think that, again, what is eventually going to wear through here is the Golden Knights, from the start of the playoffs, the question was, what are they doing in net? And they got through Winnipeg with it. I just can't see them getting through the next 3 games with Edmonton. I think it's going to be 2 games. The Oilers, you know, talking about getting hit in the pride, I mean, they got absolutely swamped in Game 3. Peter Angelo now coming out and trying to hack their players. I think they've kind of woken the sleeping bear with Connor McDavid as well. The Oilers are a young team trying to find their legs in the playoffs. They've been inconsistent, but I'd be pretty surprised if they didn't close this out from here.
AJ, tomorrow night, Panthers an underdog on the road, Vegas an underdog at home. Which underdog would you prefer to back?
Well, to be perfectly blunt, I think what the Leafs did last night was just straight up cruel. Now you hear Paul with all this hope about Game 5, it could happen. Look, just end it. Just end their misery. We all know it's going to happen. So I will absolutely take Florida as the underdog pick for tomorrow night in this one. Just get the suffering over for the Leafs fans. Their GM can move to Pittsburgh where he'll have full control that he wants. And we can all
did you hear Crosby broke 90 yesterday? He's getting good on the golf course.
Look at you two. Couple podcasting partners just wanting the other to show as much pain as possible. As for tonight, 2 games. Start us off with your DFS play here, Jeff, for Devils Hurricanes. So Carolina at home leading the series 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the play is to roster Freddie Anderson. .944 save percentage in all but 1 game on this series. I think that you're going to see the Devils shooting a lot of pucks towards the net. I think Anderson is at a spot where he's going to put up a big game. I mean, he's been tough to beat. Carolina is in a game where, you know, over their history, I mean, in games where they're up 3-1 in Game 5, they're 5-0. I think Anderson is going to put up a monster game. I really do, and I think Carolina is going to close this series out. I think that there'll be some effort from the New Jersey side. Like, I don't hate Timo Meier tonight. I think that you'll probably see him maybe approach the shot on goal bonus. That's definitely a player on the New Jersey side I like. But as far as how I think this game's going to go, I think it's going to be a little bit lower scoring. I think Freddie Anderson's probably going to be the story.
AJ, your DFS play in this game.
I'm absolutely in agreement with Jeff here. I think you look at the 4 options, and Freddie Anderson just makes the most sense. He's slightly cheaper than Ottinger. He's been solid with the exception of that one blip. Other than that, just 1 goal allowed in all those games. And even if it has been, you know, a little bit more offensive in some of the earlier ones, as Jeff said, it could be a more stout defensive game, which I think favors Anderson here as the best play. So I really like that call. Of your goalie options, I think you have to consider Freddie Anderson when you look at the totality of this 4-pack of guys who will be in the nets tonight.
Paul, who makes the most sense to roster for Devils Canes?
It's a hat trick for me. Nice. I think Anderson's the play. The guys have already covered all the data. The low goals against is something we're going to see in the next game, because I think that Game 4 demolition really took the will away from the Devils, and that's a key. So I look for another strong, disciplined effort by the Carolina club, and I don't trust the other game's goalies, so I have to get my goalie win here. And so that's a key consideration. When you consider the alternatives, Anderson shines above all the rest.
AJ, what's the move here, though, on the DK Sportsbook? Because Carolina faced a similar situation, right? In Game 5 against the Islanders, lost the series-clinching game on home ice.
I think for me, you look at the Canes' victories in this series, and every one of them has been by at least 4 goals. So I'm fairly confident to look at the puck line here for the Hurricanes. You get plus 185 value, which is really good, giving up a goal and a half there. And I honestly think the alternate puck line of Carolina minus 2.5 that comes in at plus 290 is in play. I think the total is sitting at 6 right now for plus 105. That's hit in every one of these games. I know Jeff alluded to a possible low scoring contest, but just trend wise, to get plus 105 with a 6 over that leaves the push in play is too good a value to at least not consider that.
Paul, which bet are you confident backing tonight?
Well, I like the puck line too, but if you also want to parlay, how about a Carolina win coupled with the under at 5.5 for a total payout of plus 270? That's similar to the best picks that AJ already covered, which I agree with, by the way.
All right, Jab, if you think this game's going to be close, maybe it's just best to play the money line?
I think the money line is fine. We're already seeing some movement. It was minus 125 on Carolina, and it's moved already to minus 130. I think some people are starting to figure out that, Carolina at home looks like almost being a little bit disrespected at that price. I mean, they've got the clear better goaltending. Their offense is perked up. But I kind of like the puck line play here as well. I think one thing you see in situations like this is the Devils are probably going to pull their goalie if they're behind by one with 5 minutes left. That does have me a little bit concerned with the under, but I still do trend towards it. I think you're finally going to see a very close lower scoring game between these two, which I kind of had projected for the entire series. But it's an elimination game. The Devils certainly are going to tighten up on defense a little bit. Carolina, with Freddie Anderson and net, it's hard for me to see the Devils getting a bunch of goals there. So some kind of 3-2, 3-1 game definitely makes some sense. But I definitely don't hate that Carolina puck line call as well. Empty net goal firmly in play here.
Paul, the later game tonight's Kraken Stars. It's a series tied at 2. Hook me up with your DFS play.
Well, I look for the big guns for the Dallas club to take hold of this game. They really, again, sent a loud message in the last game on the road. So I'm looking at a couple of their big scorers here and the shots on goal prop. Joe Pavelski, of course, had a 4-goal game, but he's had 6 goals on 15 shots. The prop is 2.5 shots for plus 125. I like that a lot. Jason Robertson's been really quiet in this series, though, with only 1 assist and only 10 shots. I think the Stars' leading scorer is going to be heard from tonight. He wants to put his stamp on this series, and he'll show up in a big way. So I'll take the over 3.5 shot on goal prop there as well for a plus 110. And I go back to Jamie Benn for an anytime goal prop with a plus 175 payoff. I like the way the guy's playing. Real playoff hockey stud.
Jeff, who are you rostering?
Yeah, no, in terms of DFS, the Kraken are fine. You can get some value with them throughout the lineup. I still don't mind using Vince Dunn on defense. On the other side, Jaden Schwartz is still only 4,600. Daniel Sprong may be out again. That just means more ice time for a guy like Schwartz. But pretty much in agreement with Paul here. Dallas's offense is really legit. They've scored less than 4 goals once over their last 6 games. The top couple lines really come to play. Jamie Benn is definitely a nice value. No disagreement there. I'd also look to Tyler Seguin, who's perked up a little bit in the last game. But, again, that top line, I think with the way Joe Pavelski's playing, just keep rostering Joe Pavelski. He's the trigger man there. Robertson's shooting a little bit less, more the playmaker. Taking Pavelski and Robertson together is a great way to start lineups today.
AJ, who's stuffing in your lineup?
Yeah, I agree. Joe Pavelski is my call here. 6,900 feels a little bit too low. I would have expected him to be closer to 72, 73 maybe. 6 goals in the series so far. No reason to think he's going to stop anytime soon. He's been just phenomenal since returning from that injury. If you are looking for a little more value out of this game, I do think we'll see Jared McCann get back in the goal column in this one. He's 5,500 here, a 40-goal scorer during the regular season. Looked okay in that first game back from injury. I wouldn't be surprised to see him finally get one in the back of the net tonight.
All right, gentlemen, quick on this last one. Best of 7 series. It's shifting back to Texas. So what's the bet, Paul?
I look for the Stars to build on their impressive win in Game 4. Look at that. They've held Seattle to less than 20 shots on goal in each of the last 2 games. Now they got home ice advantage. I trust their defensive structure. I'm taking them on the puck line tonight.
Jeffrey?
Yeah, I was just going to go Dallas regulation line, but pretty much same thing here. Feels like the Seattle story may be coming to an end. This is a really deep Dallas Stars team. The goaltending in Seattle, I could see regressing. It's one bad game, but Philip Grubauer was not great during the regular season. I think Dallas probably just takes the lead tonight and takes control of this series. I really like Dallas in regulation, on the regulation line, around -120.
AJ, bring us home.
I'll toss in a player prop and go back to Pavelski here. His shot prop is sitting at just 2.5, and you're getting +125 value on that. He's missed that mark just once in these last 4 games. He had 2 shots in that one contest, so I would expect, him getting 3, and the fact that you're getting +125 value seems like a good play tonight.
Thanks, guys. Jeff, we'll talk some NFL schedule with you coming up. AJ, after this quick break, we're going to bring in Chin May, and you need to deliver us some Premier League picks.
Yo, DraftKings, y'all got the most ways to bet on NBA players. I'm hyped. Hitting props, that's my dog. Stack up buckets, blocks, and boards on my boy? Or superstar going one-on-one against another superstar? Oh, it's on. And all these bets are on my man's dedicated page? Now you spoiling me, DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and bet $5 to win $150 in bonus bets on your team to win. Action so good, why bet anywhere else? That's my move. He used my move.
Betting without a game plan is a little like skating a giant ramp without helmet and pads. I wouldn't risk it. And I wouldn't bet without a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook provides you with tools to set a realistic budget and time limits, so you're ready to bet responsibly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook and casino apps to learn more about how you can practice safe bets.
This season, DraftKings Sportsbook is your place to bet on the greatest sport on ice. There's so many ways to get closer to the game. And with this latest offer, you can win big. Now that is deserving of some victory stick taps.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up with the promo code, and take advantage of this great offer.
And get in on the action with an official sports betting partner of the NHL.
With DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports, you can play for millions with a lineup full of big NBA stars. Maybe you throw in a three-point specialist that's been around the league, seen a thing or two. If you want. Download DraftKings and play for your share of millions. Action's so good, why play NBA anywhere else?
Laugh love, baby. The Premier League title race is still on. Manchester City looking to keep Arsenal in the rear view mirror as they chase a continental treble. The top 4 race heating up. Welcome to match week 36, boys and girls. DK Nation, Shinmei Vadia, RotoWire's AJ Scholes. Let's get your top bets here. So Saturday, Aston Villa, whose form has fizzled a bit lately, according to people who know more about soccer than I do. And then Tottenham, who has the best finisher here, Chen Mei, and Harry Kane. How are you approaching this on the DK Sportsbook?
Yeah, as you mentioned, both these teams kind of struggling with form. Tottenham have been pretty bad away from home, as been referenced many times on this show. So I'm just going to go with goal scorers here. Harry Kane as anytime scorer, +115, and Ollie Watkins, a guy who we've both touted here, anytime scorer at +130. I think both of those guys to find the back of the net here in a game between two clubs fighting for that Champions League spot or a spot in Europe for Aston Villa if they can't quite get to that Champions League mark is a good bet here. Both guys coming in at plus money, and both guys have had a good form going into this match. So I like those two as anytime goal scorers.
All right, what do you think, AJ?
Yeah, as we've mentioned, Spurs just 5 wins on the road this year. Just 1 win in their last 5 matches, and that includes a loss to Bournemouth. I'm actually willing to take Villa on the money line in this one, +130. Good value for a team that's playing at home against a struggling Spurs side. But I also do agree with Chinmay. I like stacking up some of the goal scorer props here. Both Kane and Watkins are phenomenal picks as well.
Let's go with the Sunday play from you guys. So Everton, Man City, got a couple of games to choose from. Everton, Man City, 3 weeks ago, you'd probably look at this as an easy fixture for Manchester City. Or Arsenal, Brighton, AJ. You wonder how much last week's gutsy win took out of Arsenal. So what you think?
Well, look, I couldn't find the Holland to score 6 prop on the DK Sportsbook, so I had to look elsewhere, although he is plus 1,100 to get a hat trick. As you mentioned, Everton coming off a really nice victory. This is a home game for them, So maybe if you're a fan, you consider the plus 750 money line. But realistically, City should just kind of cruise in this one. These are two teams at the opposite ends of the table. I like City on the spread, minus 1.5 goals. Comes in at minus 105. That's pretty good value for what could very easily just be a blowout win and business as usual for Man City.
Chinmay, do your thing, bro.
I can't go full homer like AJ and go Everton.
Come on.
But I don't hate the idea of Everton
City
double
on the spread.
chance.
Come on.
Hey, I don't hate the idea of Everton double chance. Comes in at plus 225. Everton coming off a very big win over Brighton. And Man City, as we know, has struggled in these types of games before down the stretch of the season. They're coming off a tough Champions League match in the midweek against Real Madrid. And they have a match to prepare for next week with that tie at 1-1 on aggregate. So it's no sure thing that Man City will play a full strength team here. And if they don't, there's a good chance that Everton can at least get the draw, maybe sneak a win at home. So I don't hate the idea of Everton double chance. And then Arsenal, I'll take Arsenal minus 1.5 goals against Brighton. Brighton are really hurting right now after that loss to Everton. Arsenal, a gutsy win over Newcastle last week. I think the Gunners keep this thing close at the top of the table. Maybe they don't overtake Man City this week, but it's going to be a tight race to the end. Give me Arsenal minus 1.5 goals against Brighton.
All right, Chinmay, Monday Fun Day, Liverpool, Leicester City. Great opportunity here for Leicester City to move towards surviving relegation. What is the move on the DK Sportsbook?
Well, Leicester are going down. It's pretty clear that they don't have anything really to play for here. Liverpool have been absolutely flying of late. This team has really turned things around late in the season. So I'll take Liverpool minus 1.5 goals. Comes in at plus 130. I think that's actually tremendous value given Liverpool's form at the moment and Leicester just kind of waiting for the season to end and just figuring out where they're going to be and how they're going to approach next season as they go down into the championship. But give me the Reds minus 1.5 goals. I think you can get tremendous value in this game. Liverpool are just playing excellent soccer at the moment.
I don't know, AJ. You look at their results, they're not exactly destroying teams. You giving Leicester any chance here?
No, not really.
I mean, come on.
Chinmay sounds like an Everton fan.
He does.
They're going to beat Man City, that, Leicester for sure is going down. I love it, Chinmay. I've got so much confidence. But for me, I'm looking at the total in this one. These two teams have combined to concede 106 goals this season. I think you look at over 3.5 at plus 115. We've seen the occasional bad Liverpool outing, so maybe, just maybe, there's a 2-2 draw. That would hit the over, obviously. But more likely, I think we see a powerhouse Liverpool game that ends like 4-0, 5-0. So I think the 3.5 total should be a pretty easy hit in this one, and you get really solid value at plus 115.
Gentlemen, you know what time it is. It is time to do that thing we like and dish out your sweaty boot pick. AJ, best bet of match week 36. Hit me with it.
Well, Chinmay's talking about, Man City overlooking this one. So I'm going to look player prop for Everton. Dwight McNeil has really enjoyed reuniting with manager Sean Dyche, who he played for previously. He's got 6 goals in his last 5 contests. We know City will probably control the pace of play regardless of who's on the field. But on the counter, McNeil has speed and scoring touch. So I like him as anytime goal scorer. Comes in at plus 400. I feel like that should be a double point sweaty boot pick if it hits, given those odds.
I will let producer Samir decide that. Chinmay.
Well, Southampton at the bottom of the table going up against Fulham. Fulham still have something to play for. I know this is a road game, but Fulham plus 150 on the money line. I feel like that's just too much to pass up there. Give me Fulham plus 150 on the money line against the bottom of the table team Southampton as my sweaty boot pick this week.
All right, love you too. We will see how everything shapes up this weekend. Our final break arriving right now. Our final block arriving after said final break. We will dive into the NFL schedule with Jeff and Pierce next.
Yo, DraftKings, y'all got the most ways to bet on NBA players. I'm hyped. Hitting props, that's my dog. Stack up buckets, blocks, and boards on my boy? Or superstar going one-on-one against another superstar? Oh, it's on. And all these bets are on my man's dedicated page? Now you spoiling me, DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and bet $5 to win $150 in bonus bets on your team to win. Action's so good, why bet anywhere else? That's my move. He used my move.
You know, betting without a game plan is a little like skating a giant ramp without helmet and pads. I wouldn't risk it. And I wouldn't bet without a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook provides you with tools to set a realistic budget and time limits, so you're ready to bet responsibly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook and casino apps to learn more about how you can practice safe bets.
This season, DraftKings Sportsbook is your place to bet on the greatest sport on ice. There's so many ways to get closer to the game. And with this latest offer, you can win big. Now that is deserving of some victory stick taps.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up with the promo code, and take advantage of this great offer.
And get in on the action with an official sports betting partner of the NHL.
With DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports, you can play for millions with a lineup full of big NBA stars. Maybe you throw in a three-point specialist that's been around the league, seen a thing or two. You know, if you want. Download DraftKings and play for your share of millions. Action's so good, why play NBA anywhere else?
Okay, so the full 272-game NFL schedule is going to be released tonight, but per usual, take a look at your screen. The league just can't resist having a good old-fashioned leak party leading up to it, although the international games and a few others were officially announced. Jeff Ulrich, Pierce Dietrich, welcome to the program. I have some questions about these games on our screen. So for the first time ever, a team, America's team, the Jacksonville Jaguars, will play consecutive weeks overseas. Jeff, the schedule also features 2 games in Germany for the first time. So give me an early international lean here.
An early international.
Come on, baby. Let's go.
Wow, man. What are we doing here? I love it. An NFL schedule. The preseason's not even on the horizon yet. We're talking about games in October. Let's do it. Look, Jacksonville, Atlanta. I mean, the Jags are going to destroy the Falcons here.
Yep.
The Falcons drafted for offense. I will say this. We don't have an over-under out yet, but I will like the over in this game. I almost guarantee it. But the Jaguars, their first game over, you know, that jet lag, it's not going to set in until they have to play the Bills in week 2. But give me the Jaguars in week 1 against Atlanta. Again, no defense here to speak of. No shutdown corners for Trevor. No pass rush for Trevor Lawrence to worry about. Not a great run defense. The Jaguars should roll in this first game. Got concerns about having to play 2 weeks over there. But the first game against Atlanta, this 4 line, +4, -4 line, I think the Jags probably cover here easy.
All right, Pierce. Fans of London are going to be treated to a slate of high-profile stars there. You can go over to the Germany contest as well.
You know, I know you love the Jags.
Yeah.
And you've got Trevor Lawrence, but I don't know if Jags Atlanta is really like the most high-profile game.
No. I'm talking like a lot between like the Bills and the Jags, and then the other games with like the Ravens and Derrick Henry and the Titans and stuff. Yeah. Forget the Falcons.
Okay, well, yeah, so the second game with the Bills, that's pretty good. And I think that's going to be interesting to see a team playing back-to-back. Clearly, Jacksonville should have some sort of an advantage, no jet lag. They're going to be they're going to be prepared. But the worry is you're facing the Bills. So I think maybe the Jags cover in that situation. The thing I'm disappointed by is there's no game in Mexico. And when are we going to get a Saudi Arabia game? If the WWE can go to Saudi Arabia, when do we get an NFL game there? So let's expand. Let's go further. I know that the Germany game was great last season with people singing about West Virginia for some reason. But either way, the Germany environment was pretty cool. Glad they're going back. Jags playing 2 in a row. That's kind of fun. So
okay.
I'm excited.
I mean, Pierce, you strike me as a big Black Friday guy, and there is Black Friday NFL football this year. It's the Jets and Dolphins. It's division foes. It's Aaron Rodgers and Tua. So what's your prediction here? Jets currently a 2.5-point favorite at home.
Have we ever had a game on Friday, let alone Black Friday?
No, I don't think so. Unless it was like during that
COVID,
pandemic.
They had games like every day of the week. Like Tuesday,
I don't think they ever did Friday.
Yes, it was every day of the week, bro. We had every day of the week during COVID.
I'm pretty sure we did. Yeah.
Now,
Let's
don't
never
quote
go
me
back
on
to that. But let's have Friday games. Why not? There should be more sports on Black Friday. I'm excited about this game. It's a good matchup. You got Aaron Rodgers and great run attack. Some running. I don't know what to make of the receiving core. We'll wait and see on that. I kind of am disappointed they lost some of the players they had in the past. I was always a Berrios guy and Elijah Moore guy. But, we've got the familiar faces going to be playing with Aaron Rodgers. And then they're going to be facing a Vic Fangio defense with Jalen Ramsey. But Fangio may be, dare I say, overrated. I think that they got a little ahead of the skis here and saying that he's this great defensive coordinator and he's got a coaching tree. Hasn't really worked out for his coaching tree. Hasn't really worked out for him as a coach. Jalen Ramsey might be a little bit old. I think I'd lean with Aaron Rodgers, a very solid Jets defense led by Sauce Gardner.
Oh, yeah.
Lay the points. Take Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, Jeff, is going to be shoved down our throats all season long.
I'm here for it, man.
No,
Shove
you're
some
not.
Aaron Rodgers down there. I mean, fill up my belly with Aaron Rodgers, whatever, man. Look, the Jets at minus 2.5. I think they're being a little bit disrespected on this look-ahead line. I mean, they had a top 5 defense in terms of defensive DVOA last season. It's not getting worse. I mean, no way. I mean, they drafted defense in the first round. Pierce mentioned, the Vic Fangio fact. It's a new DC. Who knows how it's going to work out? We know the Jets are a good defense. We know they're going to be a good defense again. We know their offense is going to be better with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I'd be pretty shocked if it wasn't. But, again, I just think, look at this line, too. We're also talking about a game in November here. And, what side really has the injury concerns? I mean, with Tua's injury history, you dare say, who knows who's playing quarterback at this point for the Dolphins? So especially if we're really looking ahead and saying, what line would you invest in today? I mean, it's got to be the Jets at under a field goal. And this is a line where you could see potentially, if there are injury concerns with Tua, popping up to 5.5 or something. So the Jets definitely would be a look-ahead play here.
All right, guys, very quick on this last one. We know we're going to have multiple games on Christmas Day again, including the Eagles and the Giants, and then we're going to have a rematch of the AFC Championship game between the Chiefs and the Bengals. What would be your play right now, Jeff?
Oh, I got so many Giants takes just holstered for this season coming up here. Give me the Giants plus 7.5. Daniel Jones going way under the radar here, coming off his best season ever. Giants drafting potential stud at cornerback. I think this is going to be a very, very good team this season. And I dare say, this game is going to have very big division winner implications.
Yeah, I could see
Giants
that.
to cover at plus 7.5.
Yeah, that late in the season? I don't think that's that hot of a take there, Jeff. Bengals Chiefs, by the way, New Year's Eve, Pierce.
Yeah, it's exciting. Bengals Chiefs never lets us down. But going back to Jeff's take, I know the Giants had a good season last year, but did you see what the Eagles did in the draft? This team was, close to winning the Super Bowl, and they got that much better. I just don't know how you could bet against the Eagles at any point during the season.
All right, you two, I miss you already. Friendly reminder to everybody, DraftKings has launched a 24/7 fast channel on Samsung TV Plus, channel 1168. Go find it, go watch it, support us. We support you. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow.